Hello everyone. Every week, I share my progress towards getting funded. In this video, I'll walk you through all the trades that I took last week, providing you a breakdown for the market for each trade, and I'll be explaining the reasoning behind each trade, what worked well, and where I could have improved. So, let's get started. So, as you can see from here, on Monday, I managed to take two trades. That was on GBP JPY and BTC USD. On Tuesday, I also managed to take two trades. That was also on GBP JPY, which ended up being a break even, and on US oil, which ended up being a win throughout the 4.5%. Another trade that I also took on Tuesday was on US 30, and it ended up being a loss. So on Wednesday, I didn't see any type of setup. So I managed to take another trade on Thursday and Friday, which they all ended up being a loss. I took a total number of 7 trades, and out of those, 4 were losses, and 2 were wins, and 1 was a break even. So in terms of overall performance, I was up by 3.5%. In terms of winning streak, I didn't have any. In terms of a losing streak, I had to lose 3 trades in a row, and then this is the time also to lose 2 trades in a row. So overall, this is the summary for the trades that I took last week. The first trade, I took a short on GBP JPY. So as you can see, the market was in a downtrend. So it created this structure, then had to manage to break below this structure. After breaking below this structure, the market created this nice supply zone where it managed to retrace and tap into that zone. So after tapping into that zone, I had to head over to my 1 minute time frame. On my 1 minute time frame, as you can see here, the market is in an uptrend. What I was anticipating is for a reversal pattern when the market has tapped into the supply zone. So as you can see, this is my reversal pattern. That's the triangle pattern. So immediately at the break below the trend line, of this trend line, I had to enter a short position, placing my stop loss above the recent touch, and then my take profit, it's on the 0.272. So as you can see right here, if I pull up my Fibonacci 2 from the swing low to the swing high, my profit target is essentially at here at the 0.272 Fibonacci level. So this is how I managed to capture a 1:7 on GBP JPY. Another trade that I took was on BTC USD. So as you can see right here, the market was in a downtrend, right? So it had to manage to break below this structure and then create this nice supply zone where the market had to retrace and tap into that zone. So after tapping into my demand zone, I had to head over to my 1 minute time frame. On the 1 minute time frame, as you can see here, the market was in an uptrend, right? So what I was anticipating is for a reversal pattern to occur on my supply zone. So this is the triangle pattern that it formed up. So as you can see, we had here 2 touches and also 2 touches above. Immediately at the break of this trend line, I had to enter a short position, placing my stop loss above this recent structure, and my profit target is the 0.272 on the Fib level. So this is a trade that I managed to capture on BTC USD. So the market had to move 1:7 and then reversed. It took me out. So on BTC USD, I took a loss. So yeah, that's all on BTC USD. So on Tuesday, the first trade that I took was on US oil. So on US oil, as you can see, the market is in an uptrend. So get this impulsive move, the retracement, you had to manage to break above this structure. And then after breaking above, the market created this nice demand zone where it managed to retrace and tap into this zone. So after tapping into my zone, I had to head over to my 1 minute time frame. So as you can see here, on my 1 minute time frame, the market was in a downtrend. So after tapping into this demand zone, you had to create this triangle pattern, right? So immediately at the break of this trend line, I had to enter, and then placing my stop loss below this swing low, the recent low, and my take profit to the 0.272 fib level. 15 minutes time frame, when I pull out the Fibonacci 2 from the swing low to the swing high, you'll see that the 0.272, this was on my profit target. Another trade was on US30. So as you can see here, the market was in a downtrend. It created this retracement and managed to break below this structure. After breaking below this structure, the market created two supply zones. That's the first one and the second one, right? So after doing that, the market at first managed to retrace and tap into my first supply zone right here. So after doing that, I had to head over to my 1 minute time frame. So as you can see right here, on the 1 minute time frame, the market was in an uptrend. So what I was expecting is a reversal pattern. So as you can see right here, what happened was this created like a a double top. So at the break of the neckline, I entered a short position. Unfortunately, I got stopped out. So yeah, that's all on US30. So another trade that I took on Tuesday was on GBP JPY. So as you can see right here, the market is in a downtrend. So it created an impulsive move followed by a retracement. It managed to break below this structure. After breaking below this structure, the market created this nice supply zone where it managed to retrace and tap into this supply zone. After tapping into my supply zone, I had to head over to my 1 minute time frame. As you can see, on the 1 minute time frame, the market was in an uptrend, right? So when it tapped into this supply zone, I was looking for a reversal pattern. So as you can see here, the market formed this double top, right? So immediately at the break of the neckline, I had to enter a short position, placing my stop loss above this M pattern, and then so my take profit is the 0.272 Fibonacci level after pulling from the swing low to the swing high. So as you can see, this was my profit target. But unfortunately, the market after breaking above this structure, it retraced and then took me out for a break even. So usually when the market manages to close and break below this structure, I move my stop loss to break even. So after doing that, it had to retrace and take me out for a break even. So that's all on the trades that I took on Tuesday. Another trade that I took was on Thursday. Turns out on Wednesday I didn't have any setup. So what essentially happened is, as you can see here on USD CAD, we are in an uptrend. So the market created this impulsive move for the retracement, and then it managed to break above the structure. After breaking above this structure, the market created this nice demand zone, which later on retraced and tapped into that zone. So after tapping into my demand zone, what I had to is to head over to my 1 minute time frame. So on my 1 minute time frame, as you can see here, the market was in a downtrend. After that, it created this reversal pattern, as you can see, this double bottom. So immediately at the break of the neckline, I had to enter for a long position. Now, this may seem like as a correct trade to you or to others, but to me, this was an error. So the first thing was that this is USD CAD, and it's one of the currency pairs that are not among the 10 pairs that I trade. So essentially, I don't know what triggered me to do that, but I just happened to look on a different currency pair, and then I found this opportunity, right? And then I was like, let me just take a long position on USD CAD. The second error that I made is that, as you can see here, this is my swing high. So most of the times, I only take a trade if my risk to reward to my swing high point is a minimum of 1 to 3. So as you can see here is 2.4. So it's like I'm risking 1% to get a 2.4. So as a rule of thumb, usually I wanna have a minimum of 1 to 3. The second thing is that even though I took a loss, I got pissed off, and then I had to move away from the chart because of the silly mistakes that I made. And then turns out the market had to create another double bottom right here. As you can see, this M pattern again, and then a break above the neckline, and then creating this perfect setup for me. But since I wasn't there, so anyways, the only thing that I've learned is that I have to stick to my 10 pairs. I don't have to look for other currency pairs. So overall on USD CAD, I was down by negative 1%. So in the coming videos, I won't be including this pair because it all happened by accident. So I had to include it for this video for the sake of transparency, for you guys to understand what's really going on. So that's all on USD CAD, and that's all on Thursday. I only took one trade. So the last trade that I took last week was on US oil. So as you can see clearly here, we are in an uptrend. The market created an impulsive move followed by a retracement, and then it had to manage to break above this structure and then create a nice strong push. After breaking above the structure, the market created this nice demand zone, which later on retraced and tapped into this zone. So as usual, after tapping into my zone, I had to head over to my 1 minute time frame. So we are in a downtrend, right? So the market, I was expecting a reversal pattern. So what I saw was this impulsive move, right? So I saw this impulsive move followed by this retracement and then a break above, like an M pattern. That's what I was seeing by that time. And when I was revising my trade, I was even wondering, like, what was I even looking at? So it's like I'm trying to force a pattern out of a choppy price action. So for the choppy price action, I'm referring to this type of, on this section only. So this is one of the things that I need to point out, and one of the things that I need to take note when I'm taking other trades next week. So taking a loss doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but sometimes you need to learn out of the losses that you've taken. So for the last week, I've learned a lot of things, and I feel like every week I have to be improving, and every week I have to be running new concepts, or not necessarily as in switching my strategy, but trying to find areas of improvement, areas of my flaws. Because one thing that I've noticed is that when I was back testing, guys, like I'm really a profitable trader, but when I'm taking these live trades, I found myself making these minor mistakes, and in the long run, that's so damaging to my trading account. And another issue that I was experiencing was that, as you can see, like theoretically, I'm up by 3.75%, right? But I also had broker issues. How can I say? My funded account wouldn't allow me to risk a certain amount. So that was on Monday. I was trying to risk $25. It was saying I don't have enough money. And after contacting my broker, that's when things started to work out. That was on Tuesday. So as you can see, the 7% that I managed to make on Monday was actually in smaller amount. I think I managed to get that was like $14, if not $15. Yeah, and then On that was on Tuesday. That's when I managed to get a 4.5%. Lose it again to the market with the other trades. But overall, let's see how next week plays out. Thanks for watching, and if you find this content very helpful, I would recommend for you to give it a thumbs up, and sometimes you can subscribe if you find this content helpful, so that every time I post this type of content you get notified.